Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains May 16th through the 26th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of True Crime Time for Tuesday, May the 20th, 2025, and I'm Woody Overton.
I'm Cyndi Overton.
And we are back at you again, bringing you the news that you can't live without.
It's true.
You sound so excited this morning, Sid. So, Taco Tuesday, Tater Tot Tuesday. Somebody said a funny one was the cousin says sorry ass Monday or something like that. Mm-hmm. I forget what they call it, but the whatever you want to call your Tuesday, call it. We're gonna call it Time for True Crime.
Okay.
Tuesday.
Okay.
What you got?
I got a story out of New Jersey.
New Jersey.
And I don't know why I get these stories. But a mother and a stepfather of an 18-year-old girl have been arrested after the teenager said that she had been held captive and sexually abused for years. Why do you do this to me? You don't like to see me cry, yet you give me the stories that are going to make me cry.
Good entertainment.
Oh my God.
For me. Thanks, Leah Marie.
Oh
good entertainment for me.
Leah, don't send him these stories anymore. He just passes them to me.
I try to make it a theme for you.
Well, it is the theme.
I try to give you like most of the cold cases and we, lock our family up in dog cages stories.
Right? You trying to tell me something?
No.
Okay.
That's why I just said absolutely not.
Well, on Saturday, May 10th in Camden County.
Camden, New Jersey.
Yes. The prosecutor's office I'm like you with what was the word earlier that I actually edited out for you, but I'm going to keep this one in. So the Gloucester Township, this is what I'm trying to pronounce. Prosecutor's Office Special Victims Unit and Gloucester Township Police Department responded to reports that a child had been kept in a home and abused for several years. And apparently this came out on Facebook. The victim's mother, Brenda Spencer, who's 38, and her stepfather, Brandon Mosley, who is 41, have been arrested. They've been abusing her since approximately 2018. And around that time, she was removed from school in the 6th grade at Spencer's discretion and confined to her home. She stated that shortly after that time, she was forced to live in a dog crate for approximately
I just guessed at that one.
Approximately 1 year and was let out periodically. Police said the victim advised she was later forced to live in a padlocked bathroom while being chained up.
Jeez.
She stated that she would be let out of the bathroom when family visited the residence. The release stated that at other times the victim had been forced to live in a bare room with a bucket to use for a toilet.
Nice.
And
I don't even know what fucking world that can compute in a live person's head that is okay to do to a child.
I don't know. And then they had an alarm, the parent, the mother and the stepfather had an alarm system set up that would alert them if she tried to leave. So the teenager said that she had been beaten with a belt and was sexually abused by Mosley. The abuse occurred for years until she escaped the residence on May 8th. And she was actually assisted by a neighbor. And she later disclosed the abuse, which was reported to law enforcement. And she said, of course, I've already described squalid conditions alongside numerous dogs and chinchillas and other animals after the detectives looked at the residence. They learned that a 13-year-old who had also lived in the home was removed from school years ago, earlier at Spencer's discretion as well.
There you go.
Both girls were homeschooled. On May 14th, Camden County prosecutor Grace McCauley confirmed Spencer was the mother of both of the girls and Mosley was the stepfather.
Yeah, shoot that bitch right in the head.
Well, you have cases where the mom would give the daughter.
Absolutely. And they should, in my mind, so I got cases with them. It's not a competition that are much more horrible than this, but they'll shoot every one of them in the fucking head.
So the suspects were both charged with the following on May 11th. First-degree kidnapping, 1 count. Second-degree conspiracy to commit kidnapping, 1 count. Second-degree aggravated assault, 1 count. Second-degree endangering the welfare of a child, abuse and neglect, 5 counts of that. Third-degree criminal restraint, 1 count. Third-degree aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 1 count. Third-degree possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose was 1 count, and fourth-degree unlawful possession of a weapon. And the release confirmed that Mosley was also charged with first-degree aggravated sexual assault, second-degree sexual assault, second-degree endangering the welfare of a child, and it just goes on and on. This is Mosley.
Fuck Mosley.
And then the mom. So of course this game is ongoing. This story is ongoing, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it.
Yeah, well, fuck them, right?
Yep.
Just absolutely mind blowing, and no words. So I'm gonna light it up for a second. It's time for beast mode. All right, beach time, y'all. Beach time, and this is more of a public service announcement. Last show we told you about our snakes living in the studio and all that good stuff. Well, if you go to the beach, especially places where they have great white sharks, you have to be aware. If you get into the water, you have a possibility you're going to get ate.
You go into their home.
That's right.
Yeah.
The same thing like being here. Even though this is our studio, the snake is kind of imposing here.
Well, in its defense, we have left the door open.
Yes, that's true. All right. Well, anyway, let's go to Australia. This isn't really a crime, so I'm not going to do worldwide crime. Oh, Australia, there's a place called Port Noarlunga, right? And it's a popular beach spot. And people like to go diving there, surfing there, swimming there, everything. And this one guy who's 66 years old, living his best life, right? Richard Rossman. And he's just doing what Australians do down there in Port, whatever it's called. But the beach was packed. And a whole bunch of people heard some screaming start. Mm-hmm. And it was Richard. Then the bystanders who were close to him, who were hearing the blood-curdling screams. And as Richard Rossman was getting his ass ate up by a big shark. And this happened on just last Thursday, y'all. So it said when the attack happened, Rossman was taking his usual morning swim. He said, staying healthy. I got to get back to working out. 66, staying healthy, swimming in the ocean, enjoying himself. And he was around 500 feet from the shore when the attack happened around 9:45 a.m. They said the screams are believed to have come from a woman who is thought to be the partner of Richard. They said she and the surf life-saving club went out to help. Then emergency services were called. This is what the diver, the local Channel 7 was interviewing and said. They said after being helped out of the water, Rossman was treated by paramedics at the scene while people evacuated the sea. You think? Mm-hmm. Fucking great white swimming back and forth, tearing people up. The shark victim is reportedly being treated at the hospital for his high thigh injuries. So there was a school group and a local diver group, which I told you about. They were also evacuated from the scene, and they said old Richard is in critical but stable condition. And so Richard's getting his junk sewed back up, swimming along. I guess it mimics a seal or whatever great whites like to eat. I mean, look, you don't have to be 500 feet out. I saw one last year where the person was like knee deep in the water, probably doing like we did at spring break when the water's too cold to get in and you had to pee from drinking too much. You go out knee deep and let it run down your leg and then wash it off. And she got 8, right? But just so you know, and I know a lot of y'all are headed to the beach this next week's Memorial Day and all that, the official kickoff of summer, you do have the chance of being shark bit.
Thank you for that public service announcement.
Jellyfish too.
Yeah.
Jellyfish hurt. Some of them.
Just pee on yourself.
That's such bullshit. I have tried to pee on myself, or I've peed on myself after being stung by jellyfish and didn't do a fucking thing.
Maybe you need someone else's pee.
I'm not really trying to go there. Just suck it up. Take it like a man. But if you get shark bit, you gotta go to the hospital. There
is something like people take like vinegar, or there is something that is an old wives' tale that actually does work. I was joking about the pee because that's a friend's. That's a friend's.
I've always heard the same thing about peeing, but I actually tried that. It didn't work.
I can't believe it.
Maybe it was a different kind of jellyfish. Maybe it was anti-pee jellyfish.
Maybe your pee was just too much full of beer.
No, because I was diving and I never drink before I dive.
It's true.
So, all right, what you got?
I got an update.
I was just trying to lighten it up because you always bring in the fucking shitty stories.
God, please. That's a lighten up story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, nobody died. I mean, no kids was locked in the room being tortured and shit.
Horrible. I have an update.
All right.
Do you remember me telling the story about the babies over a series of years that had been left in spots in London we're going to London, East London, England.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Possibly.
So there was a baby that was found abandoned in 2019 and 2017 and 2025. Yeah. And they didn't know who the mother was. Right. And they thought it was, obviously located to the area because the same place, same type of thing.
She kept getting, evidently she liked to screw. She just didn't like the results.
Right. Yeah. So in East London, authorities are intensifying efforts to locate the parents of the 3 infants. Elsa.
I would be very surprised if there isn't different baby daddies.
So Elsa, Harry, and Roman, who were found in, like I said, the 2025, 2019, 2017. DNA testing has confirmed the children are siblings.
Yes.
So
but you
Elsa.
only need a half a parent to do that. Not a half a parent, a half of a set of parents.
I think the other thing that I read, it confirmed that they were full siblings. Okay. That both sides matched. Right. I could be very wrong, but.
Fuck that mom and dad.
Elsa was discovered in January of 2025, and that's when I told this story, in Newham, while Harry and Roman were found in Plaistow Park and Roman Road, both in East London. All were left in public areas, wrapped in towels and placed in bags or bushes. But Detective Inspector Jamie Hom expressed concern that the children's mother might be mentally unwell and unable to seek help.
What about the dad? He knows. She didn't just get fat every year and a half for 9 months.
So police are choosing right now, because they don't know, they're treating the thought of this mom as being a victim of her circumstances and trying to provide support.
Could be.
Authorities have not excluded the possibility of a 4th abandoned child and continue to appeal to the public for information. This is the meat of the story. The Metropolitan Police supported the National Crime Agency, and they have narrowed their search to approximately 400 homes in East Ham and Plaistow. And officers are conducting door-to-door inquiries. And they're requesting voluntary DNA samples from residents.
Big in the area that is, and you know, if you're going door to, I guess like you're talking about was in a certain geographical area, would they establish that it's DNA, and I don't know. There's a lot of science behind that now. You know, like even on rapes and stuff that they can triangulate it, and the FBI can say, we think it's approximately this neighborhood because of the areas, whatever it may be. You should go in. The profilers come in and say, go in there and do that. And of course, you're asking everybody for DNA door-to-door swabs. You catch a motherfucker that says no, you're going to be put on the top of the list. Summer's just around the corner, and the folks at Mint Mobile have a hot take. Getting the summer bod is out, and getting your savings bod is in. This spring and summer, we want skimpy wireless bills and fat wallets. And with premium wireless plans for just $15 a month, you can have both without breaking the sweat or the bank. I was paying way too much for wireless service and decided to give Mint Mobile a try. And I've been seriously impressed. The call quality is crystal clear, the data speeds are fast, and I'm saving hundreds of dollars. It's the easiest switch I ever made, and I didn't have to sacrifice a thing. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/RLRC. That's mintmobile.com/RLRC. Upfront payment of $45 for a 3-month, 5-gigabyte plan required. It's equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Hey, lifers, Woody Overton here, and I want to talk to y'all about something that's come up around our house more than once lately: hormones. Now, I can't speak from personal experience on this one, but I've seen it firsthand with Cyndi. There were days she'd be feeling drained, overwhelmed, even a little off. We couldn't figure out why. She was eating right, taking care of herself, getting things done like always, but something just wasn't clicking. Turns out it wasn't just stress. It wasn't just being tired. She took this free 2-minute quiz from a company called Happy Mammoth, and it gave her some serious insight into what might be going on with her hormone levels. After answering just a few simple questions, she got personalized breakdown, and one of the main things it pointed out was that her body may be overloaded with estrogen. That's when we found Hormone Harmony, Happy Mammoth's plant-based herbal formula designed to support your hormone levels, stress response, and overall well-being. Since Cyndi started taking Hormone Harmony, she said it's made a noticeable difference. Things like occasional bloating, low energy, and those mild mood dips, all less frequent. And it didn't take a huge lifestyle overhaul to see those changes. Just a small daily habit that fit right into her routine. Now listen, this isn't some one-size-fits-all deal. This quiz gives you personalized recommendations so you can understand what's going on in your body and what might help you feel better. Whether it's Hormone Harmony or one of their other hormone support products, you'll know exactly where to start. And here's the thing. Happy Mammoth has helped thousands of women. They have over 40,000 5-star reviews, and a bottle of Hormone Harmony sells every 24 seconds. That many folks can't be wrong. Ready to start feeling like yourself again? Head over to happymammoth.com and take their free 2-minute hormone quiz today to find the ultimate answer to your stubborn hormonal issues. And for a limited time, you can also get 15% off your entire first order with my code RLRC at checkout. That's HAPPYMAMMOTH.com and use the code RLRC for 15% off today.
Right. And so they're comparing the DNA samples to the national database, and they're offering €20,000 a $20,000 euro reward.
They're not getting it on DNA.
So despite extensive efforts, including the review of hundreds of hours of CCTV footage, the parents remain unidentified, and authorities believe the mother may have deliberately chosen locations without surveillance to leave the infants.
It's not dumb. Hey, let me ask you something. Why is that an update?
Because before they hadn't narrowed down
The area.
And again,
I don't like the narrowing down of area stuff because they get the shit wrong. Just like on Derek Todd Lee's case, they thought it was a white guy and they were so adamant about it. And I think you can rely too much on the science, and even if they may have part of it right, but at least they're working it. But also that story is not as bad as the usual stories that you do, right? Because at least the kids are alive. At least they're not murdering them and chopping them up and throwing them to the sharks in Australia.
Yeah, they're the story goes on to say that they are well taken care of. They're in homes.
Yeah. So that's a positive.
Yeah.
Right. So there you have that. The go get them in England. I don't know. I mean, at least they're not killing them. There's some forethought and planning and dropping them off and all that. But somebody knows that somebody's having a baby every year and a half. They get their belly swelling up and, I mean, fuck. Where's the kids? Ask them that next time. It's time for Worldwide Crime. About to follow you up right back to England. And we did, actually, this is a follow-up story too. No. And maybe you remember when I start telling it. So there's this lady in Britain, a British woman, and you know what she did? Oh, this should really be. It's time for Family Matters. You know what she did?
Killed her parents.
Absolutely. And then what did she do?
I mean, I don't know.
Well, she killed them, and then she lived with them.
That's nice.
For years until they turned into mummies.
It probably didn't bother her.
Right? Well, guess what? Now her sister is speaking out for the first time. So Louise Hopkins told The Sun that she has forgiven her sister despite her gruesome crime. She says, I have forgiven her for what she has done. I am not drinking other people's poison.
What?
Exactly. Hopkins told the UK outlet that she's still coming to terms with the gruesome 2019 killings of her parents and that she will never visit her sister in jail.
Well, that's good.
All right. Okay. I understand that. So Virginia McCullough, who is the bad bitch who killed her parents and lived with them, was sentenced on October 11th, 2024 for killing her mom and dad. John, who was 70, and Lois McCullough, who was 71. But guess how many years she got?
20.
36.
Jeez.
Still not a lot.
No.
Right? So, but the investigation into the couple's death started in September of 2023 when the doctor said, I hadn't seen John and Lois for a while. And that was like unusual. So what does he do? He calls the Essex police and says, can you do a welfare check on old John and Lois? They're some of my best patients and they've been missing their shit, right? So the police do what the police do. They go to John and Lois' house. And that's when they found John and Lois's remains in their home. And the cops said that John had been poisoned with prescription medication. And Lois, she had been struck with a hammer and fatally stabbed.
Jeez.
Right? So the Guardian is a newspaper over there. It said, prosecutor Lisa Wilden said in court that Virginia built a makeshift tomb for her father. Said John's tomb was kept in the bedroom and was covered in blankets and pictures, right? Mm-hmm. Like a memorial. While Lois's body was wrapped in a sleeping bag and left in a wardrobe in the upstairs bedroom. Well, we now know who her favorite parent was. So the police said that Virginia tried to keep her family and friends away from the home throughout the COVID-19 pandemic and for years after. Now, the sister that just said she won't visit her in prison, you ain't seen your mama and daddy in fucking years.
Yeah.
You ain't talked to them on the phone. I don't know if you got any snail mail or your sister sent a text or whatever, but you might not be the best motherfucking sister in the world or parent or daughter in the world if you hadn't seen your parents in years or talked to them. Well, that's a fact.
Maybe they
unless she had a motherfucking seance, she ain't talked to them. Maybe they had issues. I didn't say they didn't say they didn't have issues.
But that
I said
doesn't make her a bad daughter.
Don't make her a great one, right?
Okay.
And she doesn't know her parents are dead for 5 fucking years.
Okay.
All right. So they said, old girl then spent the next 4 years manipulating and lying to family members, medical staff, financial institutions, and the cops. And she spent her parents' money and ran up huge debts in their name, right? So the 36-year-old continued to live at her parents' home and lied about where they were, canceling family arrangements. I could get you to cancel 1 or 2 Christmases maybe, or Easters, or Thanksgiving. Well, they don't have Thanksgiving, but what about your mom and pop's birthdays,
right?
Anniversaries, everything else, whatever of the holidays they got over there. So, but she would tell family members and the doctors that her parents were unwell or on vacation, on lengthy trips.
Yeah.
A long dirt nap. And so, anyway, the sister, and I shouldn't really throw shade on her anyway, but it doesn't matter. She continues and she says, the worst thing is that my parents were left to rot. The grief has haunted me. And you're right. She said she became estranged from her father because of his drinking in 2018. But anyway,
well, sometimes
she said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, sometimes when you cut off one parent, you have to cut off the other.
Father's drinking and mom's behavior. She said, I have bouts of thinking I must be to blame because I walked away from all of that. I've had various flashbacks, just feeling really guilty. If I don't talk about it, it chews me up and I feel physically ill. So she was also said that she was invited to attend her sister's trial, but she said, I ain't going. She said, I was invited to go, but didn't want to because I'd made my peace that I left the family and didn't want anything more to do with them. I forgive my sister, but I would not visit her. I have created a life of peace and tranquility for me and my children. So good for her that she's got all that going on. Old girl getting 36 years.
Not enough.
Man, I don't know. I remember that book I read. It was one of my favorite books where the lover killed a significant other when they was leaving and kept them in the bedroom and kept them alive in the big house. And you remember that? Mm-hmm. It's a very famous writer. I can't think of the name of it. And lie and all that, and had the big home, and people just didn't know the person was dead.
Yeah.
Until many, many years later, they found the mummified body in the bed.
In your book?
Yeah, in the book. But the person slept in the bed with the mummy every night and all that. Somebody else out there does.
Oh, yeah.
It's been like 37 years since I read that one.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like a intro to English or something in college. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it's pretty famous.
I should know it because I have a degree in English, but
it'll come to me. I'll give y'all an update on that one later on.
I have no idea. And they're going to say it, and I'm going to remember.
It was set back in like the 1800s or something. I think it was like a big Victorian home. They were doing something with a lie outside, but that person kept buying lie. Damn it. That's going to bother me. All right.
You want me to look it up?
No, you go ahead. You have the capability to do that.
Just describe the book. What's
the famous story book where the person was kept mummified in their bed, and I think it was like a Victorian home, and the person used lye, and it wasn't discovered too many years later that the person had been dead all those years.
Okay, I found this on the web for What's the Famous Storybook, where the person was kept mummified in their bed. I think it was like a Victorian home, and the person used to lie. It wasn't discovered too many years later.
Taught in like College English 101. It's an old book by a famous author where the dead person was kept in the house, mummified, I think in the bed, and wasn't discovered 2 years later. All right, y'all, I'm going to research that and get back to you on it because it kind of tripped me out.
Oh, The Rose by William Faulkner.
Yes, that's it. The Rose. The Rose by William Faulkner.
I mean, A Rose.
A Rose.
A Rose for Emily.
That's it. Rose for Emily. Yeah. All right, there you go. My wife doing what she does, bringing the story to a conclusion. All right, your turn. You got some more joy for us?
This is horrible joy.
You gonna cry again?
Probably. This is disgusting. If you might cry on this one. So in a Pennsylvania crossing guard, he's 73 years old. His name is Richard Rossman, and he's been charged with various counts of rape and sexual assault. I know you saw the picture of this winter, but here he is. Mm-hmm. Okay. So he asked a 15-year-old neighbor, like somewhat neighbor, not next door, but, lives on the same street, to help him do some chores in his garage.
Like, hey, little kid, you want some candy? And it's like, hey, 15-year-old, can you help me do some chores on one thing? I'll give you $20.
Yeah.
Right.
And so she was, whatever, his neighbor, but as a crossing guard, I'm sure she knew him from that as well. He's not stranger danger.
He's in position of authority.
Exactly.
Look at me. The sheriff hired me to be a crossing guard. Why don't you come in my garage, little girl?
So after a month-long investigation done by police, there's finally charges brought against Richard. Their investigation began after Rossman forced the 15-year-old to have sex with him while the two were in his garage doing the chores.
Jeez.
On August 20th of 2024, police were dispatched to a local hospital on a report of a past sexual assault on this 15-year-old girl.
Yeah, probably. And most people, they're called sane kids or more commonly rape kits or whatever, but people don't realize that, and I've had a lot of these even when people would come in and report to rape, it could be days and days later, we still send them for the test.
Right.
Just on chance. And golly, I hated every one of those. And then we'd have to call in the sane nurse and they would go do them. And God bless those people for doing that job. Even though some of them were just total fabrications, the ones that weren't. And then you have to interview them afterwards and get all the pertinent details and shit to charge them. The rape sucks.
Rape sucks.
Yeah.
Well, when police talked to the little girl, she verified that she knew him because she was the crossing guard. She also said that they were neighbors.
He was the crossing guard.
He was the crossing guard. She said they were neighbors, but as they continued their questioning, they realized that she was not understanding their questions. She had developmental delays.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I got goosebumps. It's just disgusting.
So she's mentally challenged or whatever. And so he looked and say the dude was a dummy.
Right.
He got the crossing guard. For him, standing there being a crossing guard is like a sex addict being in the middle of a strip club.
It's just like a parade
with
of
$1 billion in his hand. He just gets to sit there and all day long and watch meat.
Yeah, fantasize.
And a lot of, especially the ones that he knows living in his neighborhood.
Yeah.
Hey, look, all day.
Yep.
Can you imagine that?
Yep. So the 15-year-old told officers that on July 23rd, she saw Rossman outside his house and stopped to ask if she did. She stopped to ask him if she could help with any of his...
He's old as fuck. Yeah.
Exactly. And she says then Rossman took her into the garage and locked the door behind him.
Hot sleepers, listen up. This one's for you. You probably know Avocado Green mattresses for their certified organic mattresses, but did you know they also make unbelievably breathable natural bedding? From soft organic cotton sheets to light as air as silk and lofty down to vase. Their bedding is designed to naturally regulate temperature and to keep you cool and comfy and sleeping soundly all night. Hey, and let's be real. When you're swapping out jeans for shorts and turning up the AC, it's probably time to refresh your bed too, because we sleep better when we sleep cool, and nothing sleeps cooler than natural organic bedding. What I love about Avocado's bedding is how breathable and temperature regulating it is. Whether you're wrapped up in that organic cotton sheet or under their down or silk duvet inserts, you're staying cool, dry, and comfortable all night. No more waking up in a sweat. Plus the feel, the total luxury. These are the kind of sheets you look forward to climbing into. Their cotton is soft from night one and gets even better with every wash. And don't get me started on the down duvet. It's like sleeping under a perfectly cool cloud. And of course, everything is made with sustainability in mind, from GOTS certified organic cotton to responsible down standard certification. So you're not just investing in a better night's sleep. You're supporting ethical, eco-conscious practices, better for you, better for the planet. Head to avocadomattress.com today to save 10% on all bedding and 50% on clearance bedding. Avocado is a dream of being better. Did you know there's an online cannabis company that ships federally legal THC right to your door? And they found a way to combine THC with carefully selected functional ingredients to target nearly every mood and health concern you can think of. I'm talking about Mood.com's incredible line of functional gummies. And you can get 20% off your first order at Mood.com with promo code RLRC. Forget one-size-fits-all supplements that only get you high. Mood's functional gummies are optimized to kick in as little as 15 minutes and take you to the mood that you're looking for. Whether that's Mind Magic gummies for deep work and creativity, PMS support to ease cramps and balance mood swings, or their sexual euphoria gummies to help you feel ready for action and turn every touch into a full body experience. Look, y'all, you know I have trouble sleeping. I take the Sleepy Time gummy. I take a quarter of one before I go to sleep, and I sleep hard all night long. Never even move, wake up feeling fresh as a daisy. So listen, you can find gummies to just get you high pretty much anywhere these days. But Mood's functional gummies combine premium federal legal THC with targeted botanicals to help you get into that perfect mood, usually in as little as 15 minutes. And everything ships discreetly right to your door. No dispensary lines, no awkward conversations, just better days and nights delivered to your doorstep. Best of all, not only is every Mood product backed by a 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but as I mentioned, listeners get 20% off their first order with code RLRC. So head to Mood.com, find the functional gummy that matches exactly what you're looking for, and let Mood help you discover your perfect mood. And don't forget to use promo code RLRC when you check out to save 20% on your first order.
And that's when he raped her in the bed of his truck, parked inside.
Can't even bring her inside, huh?
Nope. She told police that she tried to kick him away but couldn't. And so then the police learned that this had happened multiple times, and the most recent incident happened August 12th of 2024. And that investigators say that Rossman even made the teenager take a pregnancy test.
Wow.
Which she then sent to her mother, leading her to find out what was happening.
Whoa.
She told him, Rossman told investigators that the 15-year-old would often stop by and do chores like weeding his yard. And he also explained that they would play around and smack each other's butts.
Yeah.
So police say they found various items in the garage that the teenager told them about, such as lotions, alcohol, a small bowl with suspected burnt marijuana, and then they looked at it and confirmed that it was, marijuana. It's just horrible. So Rossman was arraigned Wednesday before magisterial district judge Benjamin F. Jones on various counts of rape and sexual assault, but he was released after posting his $250,000 bond. So That's disgusting. And I don't think she's the only one, obviously.
Well, he had her for a long time, obviously, multiple times. And that's an ongoing grooming. She didn't understand. And she's still under the authority of the crossing guard and trusted person and all that. And thank God she had, I wouldn't call it enough sense to send the pregnancy test to her mom, but she was like, for her, she was like, okay, whatever he's telling her, you can't tell anybody or I'll do whatever to you. And I don't know, man, that's just one of many, many shitbags in the world. All right. I'm going to tell you one. It's kind of a crime. It's definitely different, but it's not really a crime. But there's going to be a policy and procedure change, I can assure you.
Okay.
And and I'll tie it into a story that I have. So we're going to Greene County, Missouri. And Mr. Paul Espinosa, who's 54 years old, he's driving down the road and the police thought he was doing something a little strange. And he worked at Amazon, like a driver and shit, He's driving down the road and the cops think he's drunk, right? Mm-hmm. You with me? And so they pull him over and they get him out and he acting like he's drunk. And the sheriff's deputy pulled over Paul Espinosa, who was arriving at the Amazon warehouse in July of 2022 in Missouri. So Deputy Kyle Winchell said Espinosa's car was weaving in and out, right? And he suspected he was driving while intoxicated. And Espinosa gets out and was like, okay, I'll take it. They asked him, will you take a breathalyzer test? He said, yeah, I'll take it. He blew on it. Guess what he blew?
Oh, gosh. Nothing.
Absolutely. He blew a 0.000. But the deputy was like, he was swaying during the field sobriety test. He was like, he failed field sobriety test. The guy's like, I'm not fucking drunk.
I'm just high.
No. Yeah, right. Listen to how this concludes. So like you, deputy's like, this dude's definitely fucked up, right? Mm-hmm. But even though he blew a 0.000 for alcohol, deputy arrests him. 10:15. One white male head to the jail, Greene County, right? So they take him in, they book him. And whether they said while he was in the car, Espinosa began just sweating his ass off, right? The deputy turns up the air conditioner. The guy's just rolling with sweat. So, you don't want a motherfucker sweating all over the back of your car. I would have turned the air conditioner on for him too. So when they got to the jail, the deputy gets him out and they said his motor skills were declining. Talking about Espinosa's. Okay. So his condition continued to deteriorate as they were booking him and he underwent a blood test. They're like, okay, if I could, right? There got to be some dope up in this motherfucker, some meth. But he, it takes a while to get booked and all that. So in fact, most people don't realize how long it takes. In this case, it took 7.5 hours for him to be booked. Okay. Right? Typical. The DWI test is 2.5 hours, right? So 2 hours into the 7.5 hour ordeal, the deputies noted in the reports that Espinosa was sweating, drooling, slumping, slurring his speech, swaying, staggering, unable to stand, and unable to follow simple instructions, and his motor skills continue to decline. His pupils had constricted and were non-reactive, and he was not constantly or consistently awake, alert, and oriented to a person, place, or time. Now, look, you're writing this in your report. Yeah. My question to you is, at what fucking point do you call a medical person? All right, so continuing. They, in the 7.5 hour ordeal, did not call the nurse, and jails have nurses. The nurse was not called until 2 officers noticed he was slumped over in the holding cell. And when the nurse asked whether he knew what was going on, Espinosa allegedly replied no. Now, the nurse, who's also named in this, y'all, ultimately this is a big fucking lawsuit, and I'll tell you why. The nurse who's also named as a defendant noted that the 54-year-old was weak and his pupils were sluggish and non-reactive. But time marches on. Yes. 5 hours later, an officer drove Espinosa to the Cox North Hospital for unstable health conditions. Because they're figuring this has been like 12 hours have gone by and this motherfucker ain't coming down yet. We might have an issue here.
I can't imagine what this is.
This is fucking crazy. They said that the complaint, the lawsuit says that the officer lied to the hospital staff, saying the police just found him in his car in the parking lot and did not feel that he looked right, and noticed that he was having trouble speaking when they tried to talk to him.
That's why they didn't bring him to the medical place for 12 hours or 7.5 hours or whatever hours.
According to them,
they should have gone straight to the hospital.
Exactly. According to them, they just found him.
Yeah.
And according to what this lawsuit says. So, well, you know what? Thankfully, Mr. Espinosa was at the hospital, and hospitals do what they do. And the first thing they said was, this motherfucker's had a stroke.
I was literally, that's what I said.
They diagnosed him with a cerebral stroke, and he was immediately transported to another hospital for more intensive care. And although the blood sample was taken at the station, results were not returned to the Greene County Sheriff's Office until 2 years later in February 2024. So the lawsuit states that the Missouri Highway Patrol Crime Lab determined that Espinosa's blood did not contain any controlled substance, much less alcohol. But why the fuck you get this report back 2 years later? You know why? Because you got a subpoena. That's exactly right. So now the former Amazon worker was never charged with a crime, although they fucking held him in there and pretty much killed him. And he was never charged with a crime. That's according to Missouri criminal records. Now, the lawsuit says that the 54-year-old went blind and suffers from impairments of the mind and body and is unable to work as a result of the Greene County Sheriff's deputy's intentional denial of medical attention. Now, Espinosa and his wife, I'm just telling you about her, suing the shit out of the sheriff's office, alleging deliberate indifference and medical negligence. And they want a jury trial on punitive damages. Now let's talk about this. I understand, and I've seen it. We have really good people, most of the jails and stuff I went to, because like when you get there and they take them out of your custody and put them in their custody, they take it pretty serious. They 99% of the time somebody's fucked up or they're fighting or whatever, but it's you have a nurse there for a reason.
Yeah.
And if you have to fight them, they have to, and they get fucked up, you skull drag them or whatever, they get a knot on their head, whatever, you want to call the nurse in and you get them to sign a waiver for medical. They didn't even ask this cat. No. They just thought he was fucked up. I know they're drunk, right? Yeah. And then, just throw him in. Yeah. No. Well, that's kind of bewildering. He blew a 0.00, but he can't stand up. Got slurred speech and everything else. And then put him in a holding cell. He's unresponsive. So you finally call a nurse, and the nurse just asks you a question.
And it's been that long.
Yeah. But then they leave him. And at some point, they were like, holy fuck. I would assume it's the next shift comes on. It's like, what's wrong with that cat, Mr. Espinosa down there? Why didn't he being booked in? Why didn't he being charged with anything? And they were like, we're waiting on him to sober up some so we could figure out whatever. They fucked up.
As you were reading me the symptoms, it reminded me of my dad had a series of strokes, and that was the description that they gave me. That's when I said, I don't know where this is going.
I understand the cops, and I'm not throwing shade on these guys. Are out there hustling, doing what they do, trying to keep the public safe and all that. But at some point, common sense has to take over. There's no drug paraphernalia in the vehicle. He's arriving at his work. He's 54 years old. He's, blew a 0.0000 and never had a history of anything. 7 hours in, at 7 hours in, they write in their fucking reports how fucked up he is.
That's disgusting.
That your body processes out everything. 1 drink an hour, right? Yeah. But he didn't have alcohol. Even dope goes away, 4 or 5 hours. 7 hours in, somebody should take him to the hospital. Mm-hmm. But if they can prove what they are alleging in that lawsuit, the deputy showed up at the hospital. First of all, why wouldn't you call an ambulance? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Let the professionals take him, because the ambulance workers are going to say, how long has he been here? Give us, and then what motherfuckers, you didn't call us for 15 hours.
They just found it.
But if they could prove that deputy dropped him off at the hospital and said, oh, we just found him, they're fucked.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully there's another side to the story or whatever. I understand the guys not being trained medical professionals, but the people in the jail should know at some point. First of all, we got to book this motherfucker, mm-hmm. right? Even if you're a John Doe, they give you 24 hours and they book you under John Doe. Mm-hmm. Well, drunk tanks, I get them. Yeah, people being high, I get them. Let them sit till they calm down. But people being unresponsive and drooling and whatever, I don't know.
That's horrible.
And now he's fucked for life.
Because he had a chance. Like, if they would have caught it quickly, he had a chance. Yeah. Like, what?
Well, he didn't. Odds? I mean, he can't even say what's happening to him. But other than, I'm not drunk. I'll take your breathalyzer, right. Because your brain's so fucked in the throes or whatever. Yeah. Fortunately, he wasn't dropped dead behind the stroke, but mm-hmm. pretty bad either way.
It's horrible.
So there you go. And breaking news, P. Diddy's trial is still going on. We will tell you about it later. Right?
Yes.
Because you're getting bombarded with it. We'll tell you about the newest, biggest bombshell by his mother's uncle's plumber's cousin that saw his dog take a shit one day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And that's all I got. You got anything?
I don't have anything.
I'm Woody Overton.
I'm Cyndi Overton.
Holler at y'all later. Peace.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains May 16th through the 26th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.